April 2022, Gulfport, Mississippi. Hi, this is Janet, and I'm Sly. Back in 2016, we both decided it was time to stop working, buy an RV, and start traveling the country and the world. And once the RV was pretty much the way we wanted it, we started our travels, and we've been doing it ever since. So join us as we explore this country and the world, and maybe we can even meet up with some of you along the way. Well, it's time to pull out ye old pressure washer and the rest of my cleaning gear, because after driving 1,700 miles, this baby needs a bath. And wow, look at it now. For those of you that watched my last video, you know I had a problem with my luggage rack. But what I didn't tell you is that I also had a problem with my windshield. Yes, I've had a problem with this windshield for the past year when it initially broke and almost fell out. It seems that finding somebody to reinstall a windshield in an RV is harder than you might think. Very few people know how to do it, and so far everybody has messed it up in one way or another. This last installation was done in Las Vegas, Nevada, and for the most part, it looked really good. I had a new gasket put in, and it looked like it was seated beautifully. Unfortunately, what I didn't notice was that the installer ended up breaking both the passenger side and the driver side windshield while trying to shove them back into place. But this time I decided not to replace the windshield and just try to prevent the cracks from spreading any farther. So hopefully this solves the issue. But now, back to the luggage rack. Again, for those of you following along, you'll know I had problems with this hitch and actually had it reinforced back in Amarillo, Texas. And again, as seems to be the norm, the quality of labor left something to be lacking, so there I was, fixing it out on the road. So this time, I decided to have somebody fix it that I could trust. I needed to take it to a very talented person that I know will do the job right. And this very talented person is Rob, my brother-in-law, who lives up in Andalusia, Alabama. And this is his house. Rob is an architect, an engineer, a welder, a fabricator. This man has more talents than I can even count, and he is impressive. With him along, I bought a brand new hitch, and he went to work reinforcing this one so that it will support the weight of my luggage rack. So to be clear, this hitch was rated at 500 pounds, and my luggage rack is nowhere near that. But as you're driving down the road and you hit a bounce, that bounce puts more pressure on it for a short time than it can handle, so it needs to be reinforced. So now, with this new beefed up hitch, we're ready to hit the road again, and hopefully this time the luggage will stay on the RV. But we did not go up to Andalusia to visit Rob and Kathy just so he could fix my hitch. No, Rob and Kathy also own about 18 acres of land, which is a beautiful place to go camping. And twice a year, Rob and Kathy invite all of their friends up to the 18 acres to have a weekend of camping and fun. Janet and I have been up here before during one of their weekends, but it's very rare for us to be in this part of the country during the exact time that Rob and Kathy had their picnic. So this year, we were close enough and we decided to make the trip up there to enjoy the weekend with them. So camping is not something that Janet and I do. Look, we live in an RV. Traveling around in an RV is not camping. Pitching a tent in the woods with no power, water, or sewer, well, that's camping. We have a tent, but tent life is not something that we really enjoy. Keeping that in mind, we go ahead and we make our tent as comfortable as we possibly can because, well, we didn't really come up here to go camping. We came up here to spend time with Rob and Kathy because we enjoy their company and because we just don't get to see them nearly enough. And we were not going to miss this opportunity to hang with them and a lot of their friends and ours. It wasn't long after we set up that the first people arrived. Now this is a tent. I think Janet and I will upgrade before our next trip. The bonfire is the center point of this weekend. Everybody gathers around the fire where we just sit and talk and have a good time. During this weekend, that fire was even more important because it was a bit cold. But we also do some grilling and then just more sitting and talking and enjoying each other's company. Because of the pandemic, Rob and Kathy had canceled their camping weekend, so this was the first one in a long time. And even though it was the first time, the turnout was not as high as it normally was. This time around, there was only about 20 people that showed up. In the past, parties have been up as high as 30 and 35 people. So, a little smaller than usual, but still a lot of fun. A lot of the 18 acres is still all wooded, and Rob and Kathy cut some trails through these woods that are great for doing some four-wheeling or just some walking. One of the things we like to do while we're up here is walk the trails and basically just clear them out a little bit so that they're easier to maintain for Rob and Kathy. And after cleaning up the trails a little bit, we go back to the fire to warm ourselves up and to actually cook some cobbler right alongside in the fireplace. This is the Boy Scout way, is what I was told. I've never quite seen it done this way, but I will tell you that was some good cobbler. So the weekend just zipped by, and after it was over, Rob, Kathy, and some friends stayed behind and we cleaned up the campground so it was looking good and ready for its next use. So thanks, Rob and Kathy. We had a great time and can't wait for the next one. And with that, we went back to Gulfport, where we enjoyed a bourbon at one of the local whiskey bars. Oh, by the way, I would recommend stopping there. It's not bad at all. Before calling it an end to our first week here in Gulfport, Mississippi. The RV is now back in the southeast chunk of the U.S. where it will stay for the rest of this year. Janet and I are back to enjoying the beaches of the Gulf Coast. And although we do enjoy the beaches, we will miss the skiing we did up in the mountains of Utah, even though it was a little bit on the cold side. This first week here in Gulfport has come to an end. And as usual, if you look down in the description below, you'll find a link to every place we visited so that you can find it easier. We have 3 more weeks here in Gulfport, and we hope that you continue to join us as we explore this stop.